It's lagging. All right, guys. So, what's happening right now is the Constitution, sorry, Constitution Court is making a decision on President Yoon's impeachment case. The judge is laying the grounds while why they're able to make the decision. Ooh, martial law. So one of the judges. Hmm. Wow. You actually hear what the judge is saying, though, right? Oh, really? That's weird. Okay. In that case. I think he is impeached. Oh. Hmm. So the conditions for the martial law were not met, essentially. Wow. The stock market is going up. Procedure conditions for martial law were also not met. Now they're talking about the fact that Yoon deployed military forces to the National Assembly during the martial law declaration using helicopters. The soldiers broke windows to intrude into the National Assembly. Okay. I think Korea is now should be in the election mode now. So if he gets impeached, it will be the guy who is serving as the replacement currently. Okay. Use military forces, also military polices, to try to get politicians out of the National Assembly when they were trying to revoke the martial law, which was unconstitutional. Sienya, yeah, that's what I've been saying to people I've been talking to. Right, regardless of your political ideologies, it was just unconstitutional. And through the martial law, Yoon tried to suppress and prevent any political activities, which is also unconstitutional. Infringing upon basic civil rights and human rights of citizens. You see the chat is slowing down, right? Because people have realized that they're going to declare impeachment. So they're congratulating each other. So far, they've explained that the martial law declaration was illegal and unconstitutional. Now they're going to talk about whether that's bad enough to make him impeached. It sounds like it is. Extensively infringing upon basic human rights of citizens, he said. The authority of the president is limited by the Constitution, but Yoon went against the Constitution and lost citizens' trust. Well, if he's impeached, the election will happen regardless. I think within like 60 days or something. I'll just search. Yes, MG, that's correct. He has created great confusion in every single area of this nation, including economy, politics, and all. Once again, emphasizing the fact that he used military forces and military policies to infringe upon human rights and to suppress National Assembly. Wow. Sealed. Eight nails. 8-0. It was unanimous. Ah. Wow. 8-0. Next election will happen in 2 months, 60 days, like I said. Every single point that people have raised was mentioned during the declaration, the decision, and every single point was illegal on Yoon's part. And the irony is, Yoon's supporters or the haters of DP tried to make it seem like the judges, some of the judges were opposing to each other, right? So that decision will be very divided. But guess what? It turns out it was 8-0 because it was clearly unconstitutional. And I feel like the conservatives should get their so the DP is gonna make a statement. He's saying that the impeachment was perfectly logical. And the Yoon supporters and the Conservative Party were doing so much media play. And it kind of reminded me of Minijin's media play last year. Try to force the public into thinking that somehow the martial law was constitutional and reasonable. Oh yeah, MZ? Where's the article from? Yeah, there was a delay, huge delay. is the victory for the citizens, he's saying. All right, let me. All right, here's a summary of what the Constitutional Court said. You're only hearing my voice, right? You're not hearing this guy speaking? All right, so even if martial law is a political act, it can still be legally reviewed. Declaration of martial law can be subject to legal judgment for violation of the law. The impeachment motion cannot be considered procedurally invalid. The passing of the impeachment bill does not violate the one-time deliberation rule. Even though martial law was lifted, grounds for impeachment had already occurred. Passing the impeachment motion was lawful, not an abuse of the impeachment process. At the time of martial law declaration, only impeachment proceedings for the Prosecutor General and Broadcasting Commission Chair were underway. The 2025 budget proposal had no significant influence on the situation when martial law was declared, because martial law should be declared only when there's like an emergency situation. Either a war or a situation close to war. The National Assembly exercising its authority did not constitute a major crisis situation at the time. And by that, they mean like DP did impeachments after impeachments against key figures within the government before the martial law was declared. The situation could have been handled through normal use of the president's powers. A serious crisis cannot be assumed based solely on suspicions. Claims of election fraud justifying martial law are not considered realistically grounded. The National Election Commission addressed most security vulnerabilities before the 22nd general election. Measures like ballot inspection during vote counting were also implemented. Claims of election fraud lack merit. National paralysis is not something that should be resolved through military mobilization, because that was the logic that Yoon tried to push for, that I have declared martial law because right now I cannot do anything. This nation is paralyzed because of what DP is doing. A warning type martial law is not the purpose of the Martial Law Act, and yes, he said something like this declaration of martial law is like sending a message, political signal to the opposing party that they should go easy on them or him, which simply doesn't make sense. Like martial law? Before the martial law declaration at the cabinet meeting, the actual conditions for declaring emergency martial law were not met. Before the cabinet meeting, the respondents did not provide detailed explanations. Before the cabinet meeting, no specific explanation was given regarding the martial law declaration. National Assembly lockdown and control. It's hard to say there was formal review on appointing a martial law commander. Defense minister was instructed to deploy the military. Orders were given to break doors and drag people out. Police chief, under the respondent's order, completely blocked off the National Assembly. The counterintelligence chief was ordered to track locations for arrest. National Intelligence Service Deputy Director was called and instructed to support counterintelligence operations. Military and police were ordered to block lawmakers' access and remove them. Lawmakers' right to vote and immunity from arrest were violated. Violated parliamentary immunity and interfered with party activities. Soldiers were placed in direct standoff with civilians. Proclamation banned activities of local councils and political parties. violated the principles of representative democracy and separation of powers, infringed on citizens' political rights, right to collective action, and freedom of occupation. The president infringed on the Constitution and citizens' fundamental political rights. There you go. Oh, there's more? I think there's more. Human martial law declaration. And the judges, a lot of people, the judges were criticized literally from left and right the recent days because they were delaying the process. And some judges were being threatened, like death threats, literally. But they did their job. All right, what else? When it comes to Election Commission takeover, conducting a warrantless search and seizure of the National Election Commission violated the constitutional principle of warrant-based investigation, undermined the independence of the National Election Commission. When it comes to attempts to arrest politicians, location tracking included former Chief Justice and Supreme Court Justice, violated the independence of the judiciary, constituted a serious breach of judicial independence, denied the principles of popular sovereignty and democracy, obstructed the constitutional authority of the National Assembly, ignored the constitutional structure of governance, posed a serious threat to the stability of the democratic republic, seriously undermined the basic principles of a rule of law democratic state, exercised emergency powers beyond the constitutional limits. The conflict between the President and the National Assembly was not the sole fault of one side. Conflicts between the President and the Assembly should be resolved through political means. There should have been efforts to reach conclusions through dialogue and compromise. The National Assembly should have been treated as a partner in cooperative governance. Treating the Assembly as an obstacle undermined the foundations of democracy. The President violated the Constitution and the law, shocking the public. Failed in the duty to unify the national community, abandoned the duty to uphold the Constitution, and seriously violated the public trust. And from a constitutional protection standpoint, this was a grave and unacceptable violation of the law. So, there you go. I wonder how Yoon supporters are feeling right now. Those who strongly believe that the impeachment will not happen. Martial law is no joke. Yeah, exactly. Martial law is no joke. And, it has been revealed that Yoon did try to arrest key political figures, his opponents. And then, according to notes taken by the former defense minister, who had a key role in the martial law declaration, they even tried to murder them. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it has been revealed. There was evidence. So, I think it's just a miracle that this nation still exist as a democratic country today, because of how citizens actively try to, stop the martial law influence on the night of, you know. Okay. Democracy should win. Yep, democracy should win. Now the chances are this guy will be the next president because he's the most popular candidate within the Democratic Party. And the most significant obstacle that existed for him was the legal case that he was faced with. But recently, he was declared innocent, acquitted. So he's all set to be a candidate for the next election, which is going to happen in 60 days. So we'll see whether he will be the president or not. Interesting. What you see on the left is those who, I think some people left. What you see on the right are the supporters of Yoon who opposed impeachment. They look depressed. All right, that's it. Can the Democratic Party have other contenders for the nomination? They can. But I highly doubt that they will have a chance. Oh, someone's crying because she just lost President Yoon. This thing that happened is part of a larger trend, though, so I'm glad this battle was won. The war continues. We have protests on Saturday. Hold hands off. Interesting. And I feel like as long as laws and constitution are respected, and as long as facts are respected, conflicts, political conflicts are natural. But what I'm seeing nowadays is that people are trying to fabricate and manipulate facts. And that's what I hate the most. And media play has existed for decades. But I really hope that people could respect facts and stop denying facts or the fact that they lied or something. Yeah, the reporter questioned the decision. The judge's decision was very crystal clear in terms of declaring that martial law was unconstitutional, right? And that Yoon should be impeached. And it was 8-0. And the reporter just questioned why it took so long, right? Because people are thinking, the longer it delayed, like, oh, wow, are judges like disagreeing with each other? What is going on, And the longer it got delayed, the stronger the voice of the supporters of Yoon got, saying, look, we told you. Yoon is the man. He tried to protect us. He tried to protect the nation. So, I don't know. There are a lot of theories about why the decision got delayed. Perhaps because Yoon supporters did all sorts of media play and public opinion war and manipulation over little details, over little things. And they tried to damage the reputation of the judges themselves in advance. So my guess is that they tried to get every little detail of the declaration, impeachment declaration, to perfection, right? So that nobody could contend the outcome. But that's my guess. All right, I'll see you again. I think I'm gonna hold a live session on the other channel. But thanks for joining, and we'll see where Korea will be headed from here on. Peace and love.